Hello, everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Lydia here with your new moon reading in Scorpio for November 1st, 2024. And boy, this year is going by fast. In fact, time is actually increasing and going by faster just because of the consciousness of the collective, what's rising, and the vibration is just amazing. So anyways, we're going to get right into this. It's a very interesting time. So around the November 1st time period, we have Pluto moving into Aquarius until 20 I think it was 2043 is what it is. So it's in for a little while, and that is a time of complete change, a time where humanity is moving into more of humanitarian pursuits and helping others, compassion. Also, sometimes can be in a heady kind of area, but at the same time, if you're acknowledging that you're in your head, then basically you can drop down in your heart during this time. And so there is more compassion. It is for the people and by the people. So this is an interesting time for that, Pluto being in Aquarius for this length of time, 20 years-ish. But we also have Mercury in retrograde happening too. So that said, this is a time to go in within ourselves and really take out the guck. Take out the garbage and face it head on. Just basically facing that shadow side that is no longer necessary in your life. That's usually what happens in Mercury in retrograde in the first place. We're always placed within ourselves. We are looking at things that are just we don't need them anymore. We don't need to deal with them. We might have actually reacted in our past, maybe not so favorably, and now we have to look at those situations and see, you can't redo them. So basically, that is a time of forgiving and letting go and just saying, you know what, it is what it is. I am who I am, and I'm going to accept myself. So let's look at this reading for November 1st. And I've taken from two different decks. So basically, my deck is, as per usual, I'm going to be reading, I guess, from that more regularly. And so we've got the Take Back Your Power Oracle Guidance cards, and we're also reading from the Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron Reid. So kind of off the traditional path, because I'm usually reading from the Moonology decks or the Star Codes Astro deck. So by Heather Rowan Robbins, and we're not this time. So we're going to start with my deck, the Take Back Your Power deck, and the very first card. I've chosen all three of them, but I haven't looked at them. So let's look at them together. The first one we have is Bliss, and this is beautiful because this gives us the opportunity to look at what is or what can become bliss in our lives. Bliss usually this happens. There's something that when I was channeling the message, what happens with bliss is what we tend to do. We have many, many happy moments in our lives, in our incarnations, and many different incarnations. And when you sustain the happiness, the energy of happiness, it becomes joy in other incarnations. It also becomes joy in the same incarnation, just because you feel you've raised the bar on your energy. And then soon after many different incarnations of feeling this energy of joy, you now go into bliss. And bliss is something that you tend to feel when you are meditating, when you're in a very high consciousness level. So that said, we have the opportunity to move into bliss from the many actions of joy and many feelings of happiness that we choose, because happiness is a choice, to go into. And once we let go of these shadow sides, these parts of us that we feel are dark or heavy, then what we're doing at that point is we're letting go of a side of us that, of course, comes with us when we're here on this plane of existence. We tend to find that a lot of us will express our more joyful, more happy sides, the positive sides of us. But the negative sides are also there too, because we have to learn how to become positive, or how to move towards the divine of us, more so by learning from the shadow sides and the expressions of those. So I'm just going to actually read a little bit from Bliss, the affirmation from Bliss, so that you get an idea of what it's about and how it relates to you. So in the affirmation, it says, through this state of bliss, I continue to keep in alignment with the vibration of the divine universe. I remember the beautiful feeling of bliss and maintain this feeling so I may remain on my divine life path and may easily achieve all my heart's desires. And what happens in this state, when you keep this state for this length of time, it becomes the new bar that your happiness gets to when you go into different incarnations. I hope that makes sense. So in this particular incarnation where you are at this present moment, you've learned from many different incarnations how to be generally happy, then into a state of joy. And when you are in that state of joy, you feel peaceful. You feel no matter what happens around you or what happens, it's, basically drama could happen to you. Drama or trauma could happen to you. But if you choose to stay in the state of joy, I can guarantee that high vibrational energy will be the new basis from which your energy exists. And when you're in that state, technically, you won't have these instances or situations of trauma or drama drawn towards you. And this is one of those things where, again, it's all about energy, how you put that energy out there. What you're feeling is also going to mirror image what comes to you. And keep that in mind too, especially when you are dealing with these dark sides or the dark sides of other people. You, excuse me, you have that protective cover around you, that energetic cover that you can utilize at any time in exercising personal boundaries for whatever happens. And this is something that also is very important at this time too, is personal boundaries. Make sure that you know which is a boundary, but also know when that boundary is too thick. And when it's too thick, you don't let anybody else in. That's a sign of compassion that we're looking towards right now. As Pluto goes into Aquarius, we're going to start to see more and more compassionate events or compassionate instances where people are helping other people. And what happens during that time? Well, sometimes we have traumatic events that actually push the compassion within in the environment. Now take a look at that, cause and effect. The cause of a traumatic incident or traumatic situations, whether it be climactic, so having floods or fires or volcanic reactions and earthquakes that displace people from their housing. There's always a compassionate response. Something very dark brings something very light. So take this in perspective so that it also, you can also look at yourself. It's a mirror image of who you are. So let's go on to the next card. We've got the Wisdom of the Oracle, and so we're going to look at the never-ending story. Now, I'm going to read from the guidebook here for the never-ending story. There's so much that does go on around our lives that sometimes we have to kind of pick what story we're going to live. Is it something that we're going to be playing around with the negative all the time? This is, again, about the dark shadowy sides of ourselves as compared to choosing the positive sides to ourselves. And are we going to choose that, or are we going to choose something, that we can actually benefit from? So this is it's interesting to make your choice. Once again, happiness is a choice. So let's look at this this card, the never-ending story. Okay, so the essential meanings here include self-criticism, the wounded ego, something very, very pertinent at this new moon, and unnecessary dramas. Okay, I'm just going to give you the Oracle's message here. There is a story woven through the imperfect fabric of life that tells of hurt and loss, rejection and humiliation, self-loathing and arrogance, and all manner of suffering born of unnecessary dramas. It is the old story whose refrain is that you cannot do this, but must not go there, should not say that, lest your world come crumbling down. Today, know that none of this is actually true. The sky is not falling. The voice you hear is just a small, scared, conditioned part of you that got stuck in a lie. wants to protect you and needs to be seen as a victim. Love that lost piece of you. Fear is all it knows. That's something very, very aligned with childhood and childhood traumas or dramas. Distorted guidance is preventing you from being true to yourself. You are not your story, and the narrator is simply the voice of your fearful part, small and vulnerable and easily soothed. This is beautiful because it's so right in line with the new moon, with the Scorpio, and very fluent emotions that can happen at this particular time. And that is what's pretty much coming up for us to deal with when we are dealing with the past. Some things might come up in your dreams as well, and these are things that really have to be addressed. If they're not addressed as we move into a higher state of consciousness, then it's going to continue to knock at your door and until you deal with it. And it's going to become more annoying and or persistent until you deal with it. It's not something that we can carry. We're going to be staying in just one spot in that same alignment with a particular energy if we don't deal with this. If we deal with it and we say, all right, you know what, I'm going to forgive myself for this. I'm going to go in and do a little bit of inner child work. And that's just as simple as getting into a nice, slow and heavy meditative state. And then going back to a childhood issue, or asking the universe for help during this meditation to help you find out where an issue stemmed from. Then looking at it, taking and holding that child, holding the child that was you. Picture yourself at that time period, how you would have looked, and give yourself the biggest hug ever. Tell your inner child that you love them and that you support them, and this is, or say sorry to them, whichever it is that you're looking at. This is a part, because time is elusive here, and time is elusive, pardon me, across the veil. We're in this plane of existence exists with a past, present, and future. It has a linear progression, but in the past or across the veil, there's no instance of that. It's dealing with vibration. So if you decide to go back with an intention to heal that side of you that needed to be healed before you could move forward, you can do this. It's absolutely, positively, 100% a possibility for you. So, and you are that powerful. That's what my deck is about. Take back the power that you have within you, the divine power, to make the changes you need to make a life that is worth living. Okay, so that's the oracle's message. We're going to go into the relationship message because this might apply to some people too. Sometimes your heart enters into a contract with another that results in pain, not because of abuse or neglect, but for other more complex reasons. Shame, fear of intimacy, and low self-esteem are the greatest challenges to the success of a relationship. Consider how valuable this knowledge is, however. Right now, you have an opportunity for important healing, but you must reflect on the stories you weave about love, connection, abandonment, rejection, and loneliness. Not only do you need to begin a new story, you need to forgive yourself for telling yourself the old ones. Have compassion for that part of you that believes all those narratives. None of them were ever true anyway. And I find this very awesome. I'm getting chills even thinking about it. I find this very awesome just because Colette Baron Reid had a very interesting past, and she's saying this, and she's coming by it very honestly when it comes to relationships and the relationship she had with herself. This is something that's very, very true for many people as well. Sometimes there's parts of us we just have difficulty loving, and you can definitely have a lot of trouble trying to deal with that past, deal with that side of you. But Scorpio is that type of individual, fiery and really moving through, very, very emotional. So this is that time. And now with looking at the astrological aspects that as they are, knowing that we're going into a Mercury retrograde as well, that's a very powerful time for letting go of these emotions that could really hold you back. So know that you are in a state of abundance. I'm going to read the prosperity message with this as well. Fear, envy, procrastination, greed, and the perception of victimhood could all be active in your life at this moment. Are you comparing yourself with others or thinking their success should be yours? Maybe you're afraid of all the good that is coming your way, so you step out of your lane, totally aware of what you're doing, but seemingly powerless to stop yourself. Are you back where you started, or in a situation that reminds you of past failures? Financial insecurity scaring you? You must learn to love yourself through missteps and sabotaging moments. Use criticism constructively right now. Better yet, stop telling that story altogether. Make up a new one. The universe loves you deeply and will wait for you to figure that out. Tell a new story, and success is all but guaranteed. You can do it. And I find that this is one of those times too. You don't need to add to any other dramas as you're processing everything that you're doing for yourself. So you can stay away from that. That's exercising the personal boundaries that you have within you too. So going on to the last card that we have, it's kind of going together. This card has come up several times for readings that I've done, and it's right bang on, prison. So right with this entire reading, prison is something that we place ourselves into, that it's not an actual location, at least not what the card is saying here. It's not an actual location. It's the prison in our mind that we put ourselves into. And that's what holds us back. This is perfect for this reading because of the fact that we have the opportunity to let go of the prison in our mind. We have, and in fact, I always love this, and I think this might have come up in the last reading or in another reading recently. The door is open. And I love this because this person is static, very like concrete and static. And that's somehow how we can feel. We have the door open from this cage that we've placed ourselves in, and we also have a key right there, right beside our head, but yet we can't see it. And that is sometimes how things are, sometimes when we put ourselves in that position. So this particular new moon has a lot of places, opportunities for us to walk ourselves out of this prison, to give us the opportunity to step back on the path that we've been on before, that we likely have been on before, felt that before we put ourselves in this prison. And when you're thinking about something that you can't do this, especially when it was saying this in the never-ending story, in the card, the never-ending story, realizing that you tell yourselves these narratives where you can't do this because you're not good enough. Who are you to do a card deck? That was me. Who are you to do a card deck? You're nobody on this. Like, what the heck? Who are these other people? These other people are very successful, like Kyle Gray and Colette Baron-Reed and Rebecca Campbell and all of these people. Who are you? I said this many times, and I thought to myself, you know what? Who am I? I've been chosen. I've been chosen by Spirit to do something totally different because I'm unique, and everybody else is unique, and that's okay. And this is what you have to tell yourself. I am unique. I am lovable. I am loved by Spirit. And it's okay. Everything I do is okay. Every unique part that I do and that I think is okay. The creative projects that we have on the go, or something that we want to do for ourselves is unique to somebody else's whatever. The relationships, some people covet other people's relationships. It's not so much that, it's something that you're lacking. And what you're feeling that you're lacking for yourself, not for someone else. First, you must love yourself, and then you can love somebody else adequately enough. This is a beautiful time to embrace this portion of ourselves. So let's kind of go over this again. We have bliss. We are in this beautiful state of bliss, or we can be, because we can be letting go of things that hold us back. And we are leveling up to this point of bliss, because whenever you are feeling and embracing joy within your lives, playfulness, if you want to, play, don't be so serious with your life. Don't take life so seriously. Don't take work so seriously as well. Work is there. It's always going to be there. Work is always there. But if you can play a little bit, now you're raising your vibration. You're creating different opportunities for creative projects to come in. And you're also, with the rising of your vibration, you're also giving yourself the permission to be happy, joyful, and get to that state of bliss faster than you can ever before. It's the new alignment, the new baseline that you will keep your happiness vibration going, your energetic vibration going. Then we have the never-ending story, and the never-ending story tells us that the narrative that we have going on in our mind could be only from this hurt little spot or hurt little person that has happened, that has had this in the past, in your past, in this incarnation, but also considering other incarnations, closing the contracts for anything else that could have brought you this learning lesson moment that happened in that incarnation, but you don't need in this one. And this is an important way of keeping yourself out of your own mental, emotional prison. So we go to the next card, and the prison is only that which we put within ourselves, that we put ourselves into that birdcage. We don't have to do that. In this case, what we need to do is take that step back. And once you take a step back, you're taking your step out of the birdcage, and you're actually taking the key and unlocking that part of you that is willing and able to accept you for who you are. And that's important. This is a time, everything that's going on around you, your eyes are open. You can see what the certain situation is going on globally. That does not have to be what is going on the inside. And once you change that energy from the inside, now you are starting to actually change the way that reality is around you from the inside out. Because everything that happens is a mirror image. In this plane of existence, everything that we think of and do, and when I say think of, we can think of that way about ourselves. We are also sending that energy out to create our reality the way that it is. So all the conflicts that are going on around us, wars, sicknesses and illnesses, climatic changes, that's also including the earth changing herself as well too, though. In this case, some of these things are actually us sending that energy out because we're dealing with that on the inside. And of course it's chaotic. Of course it's chaotic. Dealing with our shadow sides is always going to be very nasty stuff. But if you don't deal with it, then you sink further and further down into this state of this abyss. And you don't want to do that. When you do that, it's hard sometimes for anybody else to try to get you out. So this is the time period. This is a super new moon. So we had a super moon, super full moon. And now we are having a super new moon as well. And it just means it's big. It's a big thing for our lives. That's what it means. And being in Scorpio, it's emotional. So this is also to just give you a little bit of a mindful, just reminding yourself to watch your emotional outbursts and just see, is it stemming from you? If it is, just take a step back, give yourself some time, give yourself some self-care. Allow yourself to play rather than be so headstrong into work, because that is work or basically the seriousness, the dramaticness. Now, understanding that there are some very prudent, crazy things that are going on that can get us down. But in this case, do something active when you see something very horrible, horrific, traumatic going on. Send loving, compassionate energy to that person or place or thing or the situation that is happening. You can do this. We are, like I said, we are so much more powerful than we think we are. And taking that energy and sending it out is very, very constructive, as opposed to ruminating, allowing the trauma just to say, oh my God, it's so horrible. It's just not something, I can't believe that this is happening. It's just take that away. Say, yes, it is very difficult. That is a very challenging, very difficult situation for the people and for the situations that are happening for those people. So I'm going to send some loving energy to them and do it. Take a few moments, breathe into it or meditate and send this loving energy there. Picture it. Our imagination is our tool. It's a spiritual tool. And know that as all of these things are happening at this particular time, our spiritual development is just skyrocketing. The more you place that energy into letting go of things, forgiving other situations, for creating issues in your life, the more you let go of that, and the more you are able to transmute that energy into the love and compassion that you have within you and send that out into the world, the more you will see it in the world, the more you will see changes in your life as well. So I hope that helps. It's a lot of yakking at you. So I hope that helps. I hope you have a wonderful new moon. I hope you take the time to give yourself some self-care and ceremony for honoring the new moon. Use some crystals to help you in getting through some of the issues that you might have to go through. And sometimes we don't have anything much to really deal with. So just enjoy it. Enjoy that time. And like this video if you do, subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And if you haven't subscribed to my weekly newsletter at takebackyourpower.live, that's my email, please do. And you'll get a channel message that will help you through the next week. So I've got a card reading and a channel message that goes through. So I find that they actually help me too, because I reread them, and I find that it's loving messages from my guides, and they're very helpful in letting us know what is coming up and what's going to be pertinent in our lives. So thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful new moon, and we will see you in the next video.